Hello, everyone. I'm excited again. Welcome, welcome. I'm so excited to be here with my friend, and I'm going to tell you who that is in just a moment. We're going to give you all a chance to get settled in, and welcome to another edition of a KAMDI Candid Conversation. And we're here at it again this Sunday afternoon. And I'm again so humbled and excited to be here with my friend who I've known for a few years now. So I want to officially introduce you. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome my friend, the very talented, the young, the 5 gold album, the 5 gold album group, the leader of one of my favorite groups, Mr. Michael Cooper of ConFunkShun. Welcome.
Wow, what's happening, T?
How you doing this Sunday afternoon?
Hey, I was telling you earlier, man. It's Grandpa Sunday.
That's blessing.
Yeah. Well, I'm loving it. I'm loving it. I had the bookends here today. This terrorist.
I like that. The bookends. I like that.
Jackson and Leilani, they are terror, man.
I love that. All about the family. Mm-hmm. Let me welcome everyone who's joining us. And let me say, if you are joining us on the Fans of Unsung page, my Unsungeteers, hello, everybody. Welcome. If you are joining us on the ConFunkShun page, be sure that you may want to join us on Fans of Unsung. I can't see anyone's comments if you're on the ConFunkShun page. I can only see comments if you're on our page. So I won't be able to see your name either if you don't hit StreamYard. So make sure you hit StreamYard at the top, give them permission, and say hi to Michael. Let us know where you're saying hello from. Oh, they're coming in. Hey, John Cunningham. I got a couple Facebook users are probably from your page. Jennifer too. Love Michael Cooper. Love you, Mike. So we got a lot of folks joining us. Please feel free throughout our conversation to list your posts, your comments, and I'll be happy to ask Mike the comments for you and he'll respond. So let's go ahead and get started. Got a lot of comments coming in, Mike.
Oh, yeah, I can see them on your face.
Yes.
You read it like, ooh.
Thank you for joining us. I always love talking to you. It's always a pleasure. And you've been our guest before in the past, some years ago, before we had a visual, we had a camera. Now we get to see each other, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So thank you again. But let's always start at the beginning. Let's start in the very beginning, because some people may not know how this all got started for you and ConFunkShun. So if you don't mind, take us back a little bit. I'll just say a little bit. Mm-hmm. Even though you're celebrating 46 years with ConFunkShun, so just a little bit.
Yeah. You know, it's a long and serious story, and along the way we've had some bumps and bruises, and then we've had some great times, and you had marriages that created songs, and then everything is just attached to everything else. But back in the day, I would say, I graduated from Vallejo High School around 69, 70. So we started a little group for a talent show. And everybody knows that, as back in Vallejo, California, we were at Vallejo High, and we started a little group talent show. Of course, we didn't have a name. And by the time we got right up to the talent show, we picked this name called Project Soul. Mm-hmm. Only 4 of us. And at that time, I played bass. But we started a little group called Project Soul, and then we started adding members here and there. I think our first lead singer's name was Carl Crosley. And we just kept on going and playing the talent shows, and then they'd have the football games. After the football game, dance, and we'd have about 6 or 7 songs learned, so we'd have to play them over and over again.
Okay.
But we never had a lead singer. We always played instrumental, or we did something. And finally, we picked up Carl, and then we picked up different people. We had a lady singer for a while named Jean London. We started doing the Air Force bases. So Project Soul got pretty popular around the Solano County, San Francisco Bay Area. Sacramento, we did a thing called the Unity Festival in Sacramento, and we got to play with other celebrities. We were a local band, and then we got to play with the Watts 103rd Street Rhythm Band, Charles Wright. And we got to play with New Birth, Main Ingredient. So those were our first first real hard looks at celebrities, and we got the chance to actually be on a show. And of course, by that time, we were hooked. And an interesting story about that Unity Festival, and you'll see how it joins together. The Unity Festival, there was a group called New Birth, and the name of their band was the Nightlighters. And if the people out there who don't know the Nightlighters, you do know their song. It was called KG. Okay.
Oh yes, I remember that.
So Nightlighters played behind New Birth. There's a New Birth backup band, and it was a 3-day event. And we woke up one morning. We were staying in student housing out there on Sacramento State, and we woke up one morning. We heard these horns, like 4 or 5 horns, was jamming out. We looked out at the pool. These guys were out, and it was Sacramento. It was in July, so it was really hot early in the morning. These guys were out in their swimming trunks, and they had these 5 horns, and out there playing this riff at the pool. And the show was that night, and they were at this pool, and they're playing this riff. Da 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 da. Then they would chant, "Hey!" Da 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 da. We're like, boy, they bad. So we stepped back, and we checked them out, and then remember, we're like 15, 16 years old. These guys are probably in their early 20s. So we checked them out. Later on that night, we went ahead and did our little opening act thing. So, of course, we're going to stay and see all the bands play. So these guys came out, and they warmed up for New Birth. And they had a recording contract on RCA. And they said, we're going to play our latest song on the B-side of such and such and such. She said, so you got to be careful the way you groove this song, because we call this song Con Funk Shun. And we were like, what? That's an odd name for a song. So they were playing. It turned out it was the song they were playing at the pool. At the pool. And it was had that da 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 da. They had all these riffs and hits, and we were just, oh man. Then you could hear the drums, the bass, the sax solo. You could hear the whole song. So we're Project Soul. We hear this song called Confunction. This thing is over with, and probably three years down the road, we get a chance to go to Tennessee and back up to Soul Children. Okay, so now I'm going a little fast.
Yes, that's okay.
We back up to Soul Children, and we got involved with a studio called 8073, and the guy told us straight up that you guys can't keep that name. You guys got to get a better name if you're going to be a recording group. It was like, oh man, we got a chance to get a little local contract, but the dude don't like our name. So we go.
It's still Project Soul?
Yeah, it's still Project Soul. All these years, I think 4 or 5 years, we're still Project Soul. And we were like 20, 21 years old by then. So we go and we sit down, we start drinking wine, and some cats are smoking a little weed. They were just talking, and we said, and all of a sudden, I don't know who it was. Somebody said, "Hey, y'all remember that song by that group in Sacramento?" So what group in Sacramento? No, they said the New Birth band. So, oh, you mean the Nightlighters? Yeah, you remember that song they played out? And somebody said, yeah, Confunction. We looked at each other, was like, holy, that's it. That's it. It was unanimous around the room. You like it? Yeah, you like it? Our new name is Confunction. We went back to the local club we was playing at, and they still had Project Soul up on their little marquee. We walked in like they had done something wrong. Hey,
you got a new name. Had a little attitude about it.
Memphis, Tennessee. Mr. Ben, you got to change that. We didn't change our name. So I ain't changed no name.
Well, Mike, what does it mean? Does it have a meaning?
It has a double kind of a stab to it. Contemporary funk, we tried to play it off as contemporary funk, which we didn't know what we were talking about. We were just trying. It sounded important. So it's all contemporary funk, I was like, really? Y'all, contemporary funk. And we said, well, we were very confused and searching for a name. So Confusion, Confunction. We just played it off.
Okay.
We did not know that the name would take off like wildfire. I mean, people start packing the club to come see us over a name change.
Oh, really? Oh, did they think something happened?
And it was like you had to place as an organization, which was like a fraternity organization called the Party Brothers in Memphis. These cats would come down every Wednesday night and pack a 900 capacity club, they call themselves the Party Brothers organization. And they were all about confunction.
Oh, okay.
All about like Wednesday night, that's ConFunkShun night. Be there. Get your homework done, whatever you got to do out of Memphis State, but be there to see ConFunkShun down at Bennett's Club Rosewood.
Okay.
And that's kind of the way our career took off. We had one record. The guy that we recorded for it, he was happy with the name, and we did one record. It was called Mr. Tambourine Band, written by Bob Dylan. And yeah, Mr. Tambourine, the song, the actual hit, Mr. Tambourine Man, we made it into on the flip side, it was called Bumps and Booty, music only, but it was a bump song. And we call it Mr. Tambourine. And we sung the lyrics to Mr. Tambourine over all this funk that we put out. So
now that's a little tidbit I wasn't aware of. Okay.
Yeah. And it was a nice little local hit. It was a hit maybe in Arkansas, in Tennessee, around that area. The radio stations grabbed it and played it. And we did all right with that. And that attracted Mercury Records, who then came in and took us, and off we went.
Very good. So to sum it up, ConFunkShun came from their song, but it really, you didn't know the meaning. You all made up the meaning, right?
You know, for years we kept saying, well, we can't say that we took this name from this group's song, because that could come back on us later on. So we would say we made up different little interviews like this, and one person would have one idea, another person had another idea, and we just said, oh yeah, it was contemporary. It means contemporary funk, you know. Yeah. We were very confused when we were doing it. So confusion, ConFunkShun, got it. Okay, let's move on.
That sounds good. We're gonna roll with that. But you are already here, right here, everybody, on KAMDI Conversations, the real truth about that. You did have a question, Mike. I wanted to get in right quick. Well, ConFunkShun. Oh no, not that one. Who wrote the record "Love by Your Side"? They love that tune. That's from Gregory James. Who wrote the record "Love by Your Side"?
Felton Pilot. Felton
wrote that.
You know, Felton is the high guy that sings the high voice. Felton is the Philip Bailey of ConFunkShun. I'm the Maurice White of ConFunkShun. Felton he writes all the cool, smooth, beautiful songs like Straight from the Heart, By Your Side. You know, he's the guy. You know, that if you want to go for the love and the smooth and sophisticated chord progressions, that's your guy. Felton.
Yes.
Yeah, he's a great writer.
Yes, love Felton. And we're going to talk a little bit about that. So we went from, you kind of took us on a quick journey where you started, and we got to Memphis. And so here you are, ConFunkShun. So tell me where we went from there. When did you know I made it? We made it. When did you have that moment? Well,
it was a whole lot of moments had to go by before we got there. The first thing that we did is we dominated the club scene, because at that point in Memphis, Tennessee, and Little Rock, Arkansas, and Memphis, Tennessee, and we touched a little bit in Nashville here and there, but pretty much Little Rock and Memphis, there was probably about 7 clubs to play. And we hooked up with a talent agency called Nowag and Williams, Bubba Williams and Craig Nowag, and some badass white guys, man. And they could book they would find dates and bookings in places you would not believe. But they sent us to a thing called you go to his college campus, and they set up a big stage, and they send you, your agent would send you to play like 15 minutes on this stage. And in the audience was all these booking agencies and record companies too. These people would all come to town and sit, and different groups would go up and they play, they show their outfits, they show their music. And we went through this showcase. It was a showcase that the Nowag and Williams sent us on, this showcase. And I think we made such an impression. As a matter of fact, one of the groups that was there was called Mother's Finest. Oh, I know that group. Mother's Finest, and they were #1. They knocked it out the park. And luckily they came on before us, because we felt like we better come on with it, because these cats are sick. They had that beautiful girl out front. I said, these cats are not to be messed with. So we went there and we did well at the showcase. It was in Birmingham, Alabama. And when we came back from that showcase, these guys were getting so many calls. We started playing college after college after college. We played Ole Miss, Vanderbilt. We were just running the colleges and then coming back home and playing our clubs. You know, we had the Family Affair, Club Rosewood, we had the Checkmate Club in Little Rock. So we were doing the clubs in college and clubs in college. And we had the booking agent, Nowak and Williams, began to hook up with Don Dortch International, which is a booking agent that booked major recording artists out of Stax Records in Memphis. And Don Dortch, we didn't have any records. So he couldn't do very much with us if we didn't have any records. So we had a gentleman, another booking agent. That was a big deal down in Memphis, Tennessee, being a booking agent. We had another booking agent. Okay. We weren't exclusively signed to anyone. He would get us a gig here and there, and his name was Ray Brown. And Ray Brown was real close friends with a gentleman in Chicago named Charlie Fash. Charlie Fash was a big time resident of Mercury Records.
Okay.
And that's Ray talked to Judd Phillips, who was the local office for Mercury Records. He said, "I want you to take a look at these guys. Serious look." He talked Charlie Fash into flying down early one morning at Bennett's Club Road. We're talking 7 o'clock in the morning to fly down. He got off a plane, he got in a cab, and he came straight to Club Rosewood, where we had played the night before. So we came back down, we put on all our uniforms, turned on the lights, right? And we did a 30-minute show for Charlie Fash.
Oh, okay.
At the club that we've been packing out every Wednesday and Thursday night.
Rabbit show, yes.
Yeah, and we played for a one-man audience in a 900-seater club. And he sat in the back and he looked at us play. And we turned on the lights and the gumball. We did our steps and our kicking. And so we did all right. We played the last note, and the guy stood up and he says, "Hey, Mike, my cab is here. Have Juddy give me a call." Walked out the back door, got in the cab, and went back to the damn airport. We was like, damn, we didn't get a chance to shake his hand, talk to him, and nothing.
Or really meet him, I guess, right?
Keep in mind, by the way, I left this out. He had already signed the Barcades in Memphis. They had already had hit records out and everything. So we were trying to grab some of that pie. So when he got in his cab and went back, we said, "Damn, did he like us or no? I don't know." He said he didn't. And so our sound guy said, "Man, I'm telling you," he said, "you guys were smoking." He said, I don't see a problem." So we wore our uniforms back to the apartment. We got back to the apartment. We was like tripping, like, what's going on? Keep in mind, this all took place between around 7 a.m. and 9 a.m. Judd Phillips' office opened at 9 a.m. We get back to the apartment, right? The phone rang, and we picked the phone up, and Judd says, how do you guys feel? Like, what? He says, "How does it feel to be a Mercury recording artist?"
Oh.
We said, "What?" He says, "You got it. 2-record deal."
Oh, there you go. That's a great story. I don't think I heard.
So 2-record deal, man. We were on the moon.
Sure.
On the moon. It's like being signed to the NFL or something,
And so how old were you at this time?
At that time, I was 21 or 22.
Okay. So there you got started. So tell me what it felt like when you heard your first song on the radio. I might be fast forwarding, but the first time you heard, which record was it that you heard on the radio, and what was the feeling? Can you explain? Do you remember that?
The first one we heard on the radio was the one I mentioned before, Mr. Tambourine Man. Bump Some Booty. We actually played on WDIA and a couple of radio stations throughout the South. So we had already done the thing where we run off the road in our cars and almost kill ourselves because there's our on the radio. We'd already done that. It was like, wow. So we were hooked on trying to get more.
Yes.
So what happened after that, of course, that record died out and went away. It was very short-lived. I think it sold 9,000 copies in single form. So it did well. But that contract ended with that little small company. It's called Own Records. So now we're into this thing now with Mercury, and we do a 2-album deal. And the first album was just a bunch of original stuff that we had, and we recorded, we played it. We had no producer, and we got it out there. And some people may remember this album as ladies holding some grapes, and the album was simply called Confunction. And then these nice hands holding grapes. That was album number 1. So we failed miserably. I think we sold 30,000 copies.
Oh, okay.
So we had a phone call with Charlie Fash, and of course, keep in mind, the Barcades were working on their second album. They had already hit were too hot to stop. They were like smoking. We come out with our album on the same label and we die. We didn't do anything. So Judge says, Charlie says, hey man, don't worry about it. You're gonna go back in the studio and concentrate, and you guys will do it. You got a whole album. Just spend time writing. So we were playing the clubs, still playing the clubs, and we were on our way to a Little Rock club. What's the name of this club? It had a stage that went around and around, like a theater in the round. Not the Checkmate. It's going to come to me, and I'll shout it out at some point. The guy who ran the club name was Willie Hadley, and I can't think of the name of this club, but it was in Little Rock. And on the way to Little Rock, I was doodling around on the guitar in the van. I came up with this little riff. So we had our 4-track machine with us because we had to come up with another album.
Yes.
We had this and I plugged into this 4-track machine in the dressing room. And I started chunking around with this little riff, and then I went to another track on the machine. I started beating my drums out, and then I did my bass line. And by the time I got back home, I had written Fun, Fun, Fun. Now, most people don't know this, but Fun came to me because of Brick's Dash Dash Disco Jazz. Okay. I think now we got a flute player. We got a sax player. We got the funk. Let me just write something in a vein of that song. And once we got done with it, it was time to go in the studio. And we wound up saying, we're not going to record in Memphis. We're going to go back home to California. We talked to Mercury Records and let us go home and record. Okay. And we got home and we got, and I forgot who produced us, or did we produce ourselves? I have to think about that. And we did Fun, Fun, Fun. And we did that album. The name of the album is called Secrets. Okay.
Now, Mike, you skimmed over this, but how many instruments do you play? Because you said a couple things in there.
Oh, I started out on drums. I went to bass, and I went to guitar, and I doodled with piano a little bit. I play enough keyboards to fool somebody into thinking I play keyboards. That's how much keyboard. But my main instrument was drums for years, and then I went to bass and guitar. So I settled in on the guitar.
Okay, very good.
Drums, bass, guitar, and a little bit of keyboards.
And so the band at this time was made up of what instruments? Because you said you had a flute player in there. So tell us what made the band at this time.
Exactly what it is today. Keyboards, drums, bass, and then guitar, me on guitar. Then we had this trombone, Felton is lead singer, trombone, Carl Fuller, trumpet, and Ron Moton, saxophone. So trumpet, trombone, sax, bass guitar, lead guitar, keyboard, and drums. Those were our main instruments. Yeah.
Always love that horn section. And let me read, you got a couple of comments. Drexel Anderson is saying you guys were great on the 2020 Soul Train cruise. It was great seeing you again. He was there with the Atlantic Star. Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, Atlantic Star. We actually had them on last week's show.
Okay.
Someone is asking, will ConFunkShun release a new project in the future?
Absolutely. We're this COVID thing has done anything is let you know how lucky you are to be alive.
That's right.
And the main members of ConFunkShun all have studios, major studios in their homes. And if you recall, we did More Than Love in 2015, 2016. We had Your Night. Yeah, Your Night was the big hit off of there. It did very well for us.
Both of them.
We wouldn't have waited this long, but we were so busy touring and going and doing, and we didn't get treated very well at radio. We learned that you can do a lot of, you can't swim in that pond with those big fish. You can spend a lot of money and really you can't bring the whole country together with radio like we did back in the 70s and 80s. So different world now, different ball game. We wound up mainly doing all of our bookings were based on Love Train and Fun and Straight from the Heart. So not that we shouldn't have done the album, but we shouldn't have put so much, we shouldn't have leaned on the fact that it had to be a hit type of thing. And that was not going to make us tour more or sell more records or be bigger than what we are. There was a chance, but Bruno Mars and all these guys had that sewed up. I mean, you're not going to, Charlie Wilson, for example, we were trying to be the Charlie Wilson of the groups. So we're going to put that Your Night. We actually got one of the same producers out there, Wiley Morris. and put your night out there, and we put the money behind it, and it was taking off like a rocket. But then they came back saying, "Oh, that's great, but if you give us more money, you can get bigger. And if you give us more money, it'll go higher. And it fell out over here. Put some money over there, bring it back up, and then you'll be all right." Nah. Hey man, come on. Who you think?
It's just a different ball game now.
Yeah.
What do you think about the music industry now, Mike?
Excellent. And the reason I say that, now is now, and before the virus was then. So it's to survive. People are doing different things now. I can comment about prior to the virus, my favorite of all time people, two people I really believe that got their finger on the trigger. And again, nothing but a virus could slow anybody down. That would be Bruno Mars and Charlie Wilson.
Okay.
Their teams, their camps, they always are true to the R&B of the music. And they come out and they give us something that we can grab hold to and we can love and we can dance to. And you know, I did think that we could do the same, but I realized that the groups, we can play new music for ourselves. We can play new music. Just put it on Amazon, put it on iTunes and Amazon so people can actually download it. Take it to the gig when you're playing and sell it. But getting on the charts and being top 10 and number one, that's not going to happen like it did in the 70s. You drop $200,000 on a single. That doesn't mean you're going to be on tour,
right?
You know, because of that single. And we had that taught to us kind of rather harshly. I must say, there's a new record out right now. Another person is throwing his hat in the ring. The lead singer of the Bartays, Uncle Larry Dotson.
Larry Dotson, yes.
And he's got a record out called "I'm Good."
Yes.
And that record is dope. And so Larry's throwing his hat in the ring, getting his boxing gloves on. I'm sure he got his knee pads on too. Got to have knee pads. You got to do some begging.
Well, Larry was our guest as well. We had Larry come visit us.
Yeah.
Wonderful conversation with him, and he shared some of that. So thank you for giving him a shout out. We want to say as well. One of your guest is saying there's nothing like live bands. We are thankful that you are still performing. And someone's saying they would love to see a live recording on DVD.
Well, yeah, we got some stuff that maybe it's about a year and a half old that we actually own that we could put out on DVD. Speaking of that, we just did a pay-per-view.
Yes.
Which I'm not up. You know, when you say pay-per-view to me, I'm thinking I can go to my TV like I do a boxing fight and pay through Comcast or something and see it. Well, no, this was something different. It was pretty much reserved to laptops, your phone.
It was streamed
live. But we did one 2 weeks ago in Las Vegas, and it turned out to be a pretty good success. Fred Alexander and Lakeside was on it, Climax. And I hadn't seen the guys in 6 months.
Isn't that awesome? Yes.
So we spent about 45 minutes of the sound check together. And when we hit that first note, first drop that down, and boom, we hit Chase Me. It was like we had never missed a beat.
That's your professionalism, and you all been together so long. I love it. Yeah. And I'm going to read this comment, and I'm going to comment as well. All of your concerts are first class, musicianship and vocals. And I have to say, everyone, if you have not seen ConFunkShun live, you have got to see their show when we get back to that, because there is nothing like it. I did not sit down too much, I got to say. I was having a good time. ConFunkShun gives an amazing show still to this day. Everything Mike is talking about, the trumpet, the sax, the trombone are still there. Everybody's still there, different people. We'll talk about that in a minute. But the musicianship is amazing. And to me, live bands, I just love them. I would always love them. And you don't get, that's our 80s thing going on. You know, it's old school that we love. You don't get that a lot of times now, a full band from the music today.
Yeah, it's something that we're quite proud of, that we're able at our age in the 2020 to be able to do what we did.
Yes, and do it well.
Yeah, yeah, and do what we did, and this version of Confunction, you know, there was the original version,
Yes.
and then I went solo, and then now you have this version. This version of Confunction's been together over 25 years.
That's a long time in itself for it to be the new version.
Yeah, yeah, this version of Confunction has been together playing music now more than the original Confunction.
And tell us who of the originals is still with the band, and then tell us who else has joined.
Well, of course, the Reverend Carl Fuller, the trumpet player, he is an tambourinist extraordinaire. He's been with me now. We were brother-in-laws, so he's been probably with me 51 years. Reverend Fuller, and then of course Felton Clyde Pilot is the other lead singer and writer, and he has been like same thing. You know, 47, 48 years we've been friends and doing this music. As a matter of fact, Felton actually produced when I was doing solo Dinner for Two. So he produced Hammer and he produced.
I did not know that.
Yeah, Felton. You know, Felton produced Hammer, all the big hits.
Yes, I knew about Hammer, but I didn't know Dinner for Two. Really?
Yeah, he took time off and produced Dinner for Two. That's everything on Dinner for Two you hear is Felton Pilot, with the exception of the sax solo. And then he's doing background vocals. So basically, you're hearing Confunction on Dinner for Two.
I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very good. Well, I thank God that you guys are still performing, and what an awesome show. I mean, y'all give a show. So I'm telling you guys, if you haven't seen Confunction, when the time comes that we are able to have live music again, please go see them and support them, and you will be very happy. So tell us the new members, Mike. You named
Eric Young on bass. Eric Young on bass.
Yes, my buddy.
Young, oh man, he's got quite a career going on the internet. He's a force to be reckoned with. Of course, Dr. Ron Moten,
Yes.
we call him Moton, but his name is Moten. He allows us to say Moton. You know? Okay, I like it. But Dr. Ron Moten on saxophone, and of course Brian Collier on drums out of LA. And let's see, who am I forgetting? Kirk Casey Clayton, music director on keyboards. All right.
I had to tell you that, Mike, and that's.
I mean, I would have died sideways. I'd have died up. I'd have died down. You couldn't have died if I had not mentioned him. You could have. It'd have been over with.
I know. I got you, Casey.
We were threatening each other in the hallway the other day because we were so glad to see each other. So every time we saw each other in the hallway, you know, we got our mask on and everything. Casey, I'm getting you. I'm gonna get you. No, man, you go. I'm gonna be standing outside the door and bust you in the head. You just wait. Let me get the show is over with. I'm gonna bust you in the head. You watch. Talking smack like you all do. Man.
Very good. Talking smack like you all do. Great group of fellas. I gotta say, I enjoy being around you all. Just great group. So let me see. Someone's saying Secrets was a great project. Can't wait for you to come back to Louisiana. People are saying great history lesson. Mm-hmm. There's nothing like live band. Yes, I read that one. I agree. In concert today, Confunction sounds just like their records. EQ is nasty. That's a good nasty.
He really did crazy. I'm telling you, the man lost his mind on that bass long time ago.
Yes. Oh, he is. And Greg James is asking, who was the member that passed due to injuries in a car accident?
Injuries in a car accident. As a matter of fact, it's the same person. Those injuries that I know of in the car accident had nothing to do with his passing. Okay. That's Louis McCall. He actually, him and Danny, our original keyboardist, Danny Thomas, they had a car accident. And when Louis went through a windshield and got some serious scratches and head injuries and stuff like that, and they wound up plaguing him. We didn't know that he had headaches, and you know, the technology back in those days, I guess, didn't expose a lot of the damage, I guess, but he had headaches and all kinds of problems the rest of his life that he kept hidden from us. And then, of course, everybody knows, of course, we lost him in a gun violence situation that went wrong down in the Atlanta area. Mm-hmm. Probably coming up on 15 years ago now. Mm-hmm. But yeah, we've got one member, original member, Louis McCall, that is gone. And he's the guy that keeps the pocket. He's the greatest pocket drummer to me in the world. You listen to Love Train and that first roll off, he's not playing you ain't listening to no metronome. you listening to it, you bob in your head and you listen to a cat that's just smooth as sugar, silk on them drums, man. And it's Louis McCall.
Love it. Thank you for sharing that. You did a lot. Yolanda Henry is saying you did a live concert in Atlanta in 78, 79. Did you plan on publishing and releasing your live shows, which you kind of addressed a little while ago?
You know, we had one at the Omni. I think that was the one Sheila E. played percussion on. I have to search some of my archives. As a matter of fact, Louis McCall's ex-wife, Linda Lou, would probably have some stuff from the we actually sent the show into a thing called Don Kirshner's rock concert. So we'll research that and see if we can make a conglomeration DVD on that.
Yeah, everyone's asking. I mean, they're asking about live stuff, so that might be an idea, Mike.
I've got some nice stuff. I got some good stuff.
Oh, I know you do, and your live shows are phenomenal. So I'm sure they would do well. So those that are here, I'm going to just ask this question. I want you all to post for those that are watching and listening. What is your favorite ConFunkShun song? Just post it in the comments. We're going to keep talking, and we're going to see what we get here. I'm curious as to see what people are going to post. So let us know or let Mike know, what is your favorite ConFunkShun song? We're going to see what people come up with. So Mike, tell us, who were your musical influences for you personally and as a band, I guess, because I want to talk a little bit about your solo career in a minute, but tell us who influenced you in this process.
Well, my dad was big with the records. He was, as a matter of fact, I found he was somewhat of a promoter in his younger years. They used to pool their money and actually bring people to town and play shows. It blew me away when I found that out. I was like, really, dude? Yeah, he used to put their money together and rent the auditorium and bring people to town. You know, some of the local blues singers.
Oh, okay.
So my dad had extensive record collection. Remember, you're too young to know about 78s, but there was a thing called the 78 RPM.
You know what 78s are? I never had any.
You don't know the 78. I bet you don't have any.
I don't have any They didn't make them. I got 33s and 45s. I know those numbers.
Yeah.
But no 78s.
People my age know about them 78s. My dad had a extensive record collection, and he'd get up to carry garbage. He was a garbage carrier, and he'd get up 4 o'clock in the morning, and he'd always put on a couple of records and play them. And of course, I would get up with him at 3 years old, 2 and 3 years old.
Okay.
So I could listen to the music. And I learned how to work the record. I used to stack the encyclopedias up and stand on them, and then learn how to put the records on there. And I'd mess his records up, trying to put the needle in there and everything. That was my beginnings, I should say. That's where I really got my backbone, and because my ears were early. I was an early developer. By the time I was 6, 7 years old, I could actually sing. I could actually hold a tune.
Okay.
Sing a song right along with the record. It wasn't until I began to see some of the local blues people come to town, and I'd sneak in for their sound checks and stuff like that. And probably I would say 1961, 62, 63, I was fairly hooked. And I had a gentleman by the name George McFarland gave me a drum set.
Okay.
And I sat in my room and I beat on this drum set to all these records. Percy Sledge, Man Loves a Woman. That was one that I could just sit there and play and didn't have to do anything. And that's what taught me how to play drums. And so I go back a long way, man. My influences would probably on the guitar would be Santana, Jimi Hendrix, Wes Montgomery.
Wow. Okay.
Santana, but I had different music teachers and people that would drop in and out of my life to help me with those things. But Santana, there was an album called Santana Abraxas, and Jimi Hendrix, everybody knows Jimmy.
Yes.
His hits. And of course, Wes Montgomery, my brother, God rest his soul, he was a jazz man. He listened, his record collection was phenomenal. He's the only man I ever know in my life that had a human skeleton leg hanging on his wall next to his record collections. He got a human skeleton leg somewhere fishing and brought it home and cleaned it up and put it on his wall. So that, along with his record collection, I will never forget that. And I used to break into his apartment and go over there and sit and play his records. So Wes Montgomery, I played Wes Montgomery Tequila. Tequila album over and over and over again. And then finally, I forgot who it was. The guy by the name of Joe Nickerson taught me how to play octaves on the guitar.
Okay.
And once I learned how to play those octaves and make that Wes Montgomery sound, it was over. A guitar was my instrument from that point on. But those are my main influence. Vocally, I would have to say B.B. King, Sugarfoot, Maurice White, as far as when I became a band. Yeah. Sugarfoot, Maurice White. Those are my people that I just gravitated to.
And you're talking about Sugarfoot?
From the Ohio Players.
Ohio Players, right. Okay, in case people didn't know who that was.
I'm going to say, is there another Sugarfoot?
That's to my knowledge, but people, they may not know. We want to make sure we...
No, I'm curious because, it was Sugar Bear and all that. And there was a lot of people, but there's only one Sugarfoot.
To my knowledge, there's only one Sugarfoot, but they still may not know. I want to make sure they know.
Leroy Sugarfoot Bonner.
Oh, there you go. So, hey, Marcus Chapman. Marcus is saying, can you talk about Chase Me and the 1979 album Candy? That's the best and funkiest Con Funk Shun album.
Chase Me, man. Felton Pilot wrote that track. It's graunchy, raunchy, fast-moving track. And the first thing that popped in my head was the fact that the track sounded like it was running away. And it was very rockish. When he wrote it, I mean, you're listening to us playing it in the studio on the record. When he presented it, it has rock guitar and electric drums and all that stuff. It was very rockish. And see what Felton and I would do. Felton would write a track, and then he would give it to me, and then whatever the track told me that's what I would write over it. So So I'm trying to think if Chase Me was more about. I think I wrote a lyric on the third verse about my mama and my daddy chasing my daddy in the sweet moonlight. But it was all about a man and a woman relationship. And the man is chasing after the woman. But in this song, the woman is chasing after you're asking the woman to chase after the man. A little arrogant kind of a song. I wrote a lot of arrogant music back in the day.
Okay.
I'm all this, so chase me, that kind of thing,
So all the names are showing up. People are asking questions or commenting. And I just realized EQ is in the building, in the house. And he says, Coop has been a great band leader and a big brother. Took me under his wing. EQ was born on Soul Train, but Con Funk Shun put me on the map. Love this man going on 28 years with Con Funk Shun.
I almost had it right. I said 27. Yep. All right. Yep. Love him. He knows I love him.
Yes.
You love him to death, man.
Hi, Michael. I'm a huge fan. Met you years ago at a convention. You were so nice, they're saying. So they're naming songs now. So we've got, hang on, let me go up here. Keep going because they're coming in. Okay. Love's Train. A lot of Love's Train. I knew that was going to happen. All Up to You.
Beautiful.
Too Tight. Secrets. Miss Got the Body. And there's another Fun and Love's Train. Love on Your Mind. Make It Last.
Yep.
Another Miss Got the Body. Mystical, Magical Moment.
Now that's crazy. So somebody would, I think I wrote that song. I think I did. Yeah.
I knew we would have some true fans that might not put the, most common ones. So I was hoping we would get some. And then for solo, somebody's putting Dinner for Two. Love's Train. So there's another Mystical, Magical Woman. And I think I've read most of them. So is there a new Michael Cooper solo album coming out anytime soon? Well,
the first thing that I'll be doing will be my best stuff. And we're trying to decide on whether it's going to be 1 and 2 now since I've waited so long. So there's Michael Cooper songs, of course, with Con Funk Shun that I have rights to. Then there's Michael Cooper with Warner Brothers, those hits, all the Prove My Love, Dinner for Two, stuff like that. And then there's just the Michael Cooper albums that I did on my own, which put out, what's the one? Are We Cool? All the different cuts, So I can't just put 12 songs on a record and call it the best of. So I'm going to have to figure out how to do a volume 1 and a volume 2.
Okay.
And that's when, and the time is not time, we don't have a lot of time as this virus is telling us, So I'm going to actually probably go simultaneously and I'm doing a book. The name of the book is called On Love's Train, The Life That Loves, the Man, the Music. And then the book will have one of the CDs in it, because it'll be a book on CD. And it'll say the man, the music, the best. So Life to Love, the man, the music, and then the CD will be the man, the music, the best. So we're going to do volume 1 and 2 on Michael Cooper best stuff. As far as a brand new Michael Cooper, I would definitely say we would be doing a brand new ConFunkShun before we did a brand new Michael Cooper.
Okay.
ConFunkShun is it, man. That's, it's not like I give up on this solo thing, but I'm a group guy, and I gotta stay true to what I love.
Wonderful. And speaking of that, so I'm going to just rewind a little bit because we didn't touch on this a lot, but we're almost out of time. So when you went from ConFunkShun to being a solo artist, tell us about that, and how did it feel? Take me back the first time you had to perform just Michael Cooper.
A gentleman that you all know and love by the name of Jay King, who's one of the lead singer, the founder and lead singer of the group Club Nouveau. Right. Had his hands full with a little record company thing that he was doing, and when Club Nouveau took off like a rocket with the Life, Love, and Pain, there were tracks that needed lyrics, and I was coming to we had a little bit of a fighting, as Unsung would tell everybody, the Unsung show, when you see it, it was a little moment there where ConFunkShun was kind of at odds. Mm-hmm. So it was perfect time for me to keep that sound going. Without totally dismantling the group, without giving the impression that the group had completely broken up. And I had a chance to go solo at Warner Brothers, and our first track was from Club Nouveau, and it was called "To Prove My Love." So Tommy and Denny, went in the studio with Jay up in Sacramento, and we dropped my voice on "Prove My Love," and I wound up writing with him some of the lyrics. And I guess we turned it into Warner Brothers, and Benny Medina said, "Man, that continues right along with two different sounds. It continues with the Club Nouveau sound, since that's Club Nouveau playing the music, Tommy and Denny, and it's continuing along with ConFunkShun sound because that's you singing. We can keep this thing going." And when that record dropped, we got up there and we boxed it out with Key Sweat and Pebbles for the #1 spot. So we wound up going #2 for a week, and before Key Sweat walked all over us and took the #1 spot. But with that solo, solo career kind of happened as we segued from the first ConFunkShun to the second ConFunkShun. And it was 1987 to 1993. I was with Warner Brothers Records, and we did quite a few things. Let's see, what did we do? Dinner for Two, but we did Prove My Love, Dinner for Two, Shoop Shoop, My Baby's House, Should Have Been You. Should Have Been You was actually a pop charted pop. So we did very well. Had 5 top 10 hits with Warner Brothers, and then before I knew it, I got a call from Mike Gardner, Whisper's manager, and he says, "Listen, I got you're blowing up. Shoop Shoop." He was managing me at the time as well. He said, "Shoop Shoop is blowing up. You're doing great, but Warner's is not going to give you a new contract. You had a 3-album deal. Mm-hmm. They're not going to pick you up." But he said, "I'm getting calls from all over the place for the restarting of ConFunkShun. What can you do?" Oh, of course, Felton came on stage with me at a Michael Cooper show, and we did. I think we did Shake and Dance with Me and something else. The band, we just learned it right there because he was on stage in front of all these people, and we had a meeting the next morning in the coffee shop. Mm-hmm. And he said, "Man, I'm in." So at that point, I just called Reverend Fuller and Paul Harrell, the other 2 original members, and they said, "Yeah." And of course, I had my guys already. I had Eric Young, and I had a guy named Brian Carter on the keyboards. And I forget who our drummer was at the time. I can't think of his name. But we had a ConFunkShun just like that. We had 1 week of rehearsal, and we played this at New Year's Eve at a big center in downtown Oakland. And we were back. It was like falling off, like we never left. It was just unbelievable. Magic.
And the magic continues.
And the magic continues.
That is wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. So, Mike, we're almost out of time, but what I do want to know is, when do you plan on that book being completed and available?
Well, I was writing this book at the top of Obama's presidency, and I planned to finish the book at the tail end of his presidency, right?
Mm-hmm.
When I got the shock of a lifetime that Hillary was not going to be president, because that's how I was going to end the book. It didn't happen. So I'm still pouting.
Mike.
I'm still pouting. I've gotten up to 9 years old. I've written the book up to 9 years old. And while I still have some scruples, and now we got the voice thing, because I can just talk to it and then send it off to an editor. So I could accelerate things a little bit and pretty much stop where I should have stopped before and get the book done. I'm pretty sure I could probably have it out top of 2022.
Okay.
Yeah, top of 2022.
We heard you say that.
Yeah.
We all heard you. And a lot of other people, when they see this, even more people will hear this after this. I want you to stop pouting. We need to stop pouting.
Yeah.
And go ahead and finish the book.
Well, I got something that, I had something to say, because it's not all about music. It is about some kind of like love lives and marriages. And it's a very involved book. It's about my childhood, like things I was telling you about with the record, stacking the records and all that.
Yes, yes.
But I was so elated and so happy that Barack Obama, we had our first Black president. Mm-hmm. And at the same time, we were going to have our first female president. It was just going to be glorious. And I was going to end the book. Right. Yes. And then when this happened, with this.
Just threw you for a loop. Okay.
Yeah, this man that's in the office now, hopefully he's gone. It just threw me for a loop. And I just went into shut down. I didn't say I would never write the book. I just think,
yes,
what the hell? How am I going to end the book now if I'm going to touch on
a whole new ending?
Consciousness and things that are going on? This is really seriously bad. I had no idea that you're going to combine one virus with another. So now I got to mention in the book, the virus, 45, and of course, in my book, we'll be looking at Joe Biden as the next president. But I'm saying I can't leave it up in the air. I've got to put a period on it, because if we let ourselves get sentenced with another 4 years of Donald Trump, then we're going to get sentenced with another, 4, maybe 12 years of Trump, because his son is going to run right behind him. And those same idiots are going to vote for him. So that's something that nobody seems to be putting their eye on, that ball, that you have got to win now, because if you let these guys continue, the son is going to announce his candidacy for president, and we're going to be seeing this. I don't know what kind of America we're going to have if we don't put Biden in office. So there's my little 2 cents.
Okay.
And I know and I've been reminded. Let me spank myself. I've been reminded, Cooper, all of your ConFunkShun fans are not necessarily Democrat.
That's true. Yeah.
So be careful. Be careful. And people have been very nice and very gracious, and I thank them so very much. If you're a Republican and you love ConFunkShun, you know I love you, and you know good and well, if you search your heart, you know what my heart is. We just disagree on that, but we know we agree on the music. We could talk.
There you go. And that's what this is about, your music and all you have given us in your music, you as a lead of ConFunkShun and also as a solo artist. Mm-hmm. So in closing, can you tell us where we can follow ConFunkShun, where if anyone wants to purchase anything? Can you leave us with that, or your social media sites?
I'm going to start with our website. That is, people are really after me to redo our website. They want. Let me take it over for you. Let me take it over. And you, as you would know, I'm not that good with this. I'm not that savvy with media. I know enough to do my email and talk with you here, but I'm not big time on social media. It is one of the greatest tools in the world, and everybody needs to be up on it, and I will be. But ConFunkShunUSA.com. Right. It's running. Of course, Shoot Coop, Michael Cooper, my sites, my Facebook page is up and running. But what we're going to do is we're going to offer anything and everything that ConFunkShun is doing, selling, whatever we're doing. We're going to put it on ConFunkShunUSA.com, because that is mine. And I know I don't have to worry about losing it. I've locked it up for 10 years.
There you go.
And we'll turn it over to gurus, to some real egghead people to make that. We're going to make that site pop. You say, oh, man, I want a ConFunkShun hat. Boom, ConFunkShunUSA.com. Oh, I wonder where ConFunkShun is playing next. Boom, buy the tickets right there on the .com. So That's happening.
Okay, great. So everyone heard that. We will be on the lookout in the future for the book, and we'll make sure on the Fans of Unsung page that we'll support that. And when you start performing again, we'll make sure we post that so people can find out. I'll put it on the KAMDI group page, which is my business as well, who does this conversation, of course. So we want to make sure we keep supporting you, Mike. Okay. Thank you so very much for joining us.
Oh, yeah. Y'all witnesses for the world. I love it. I love it.
And of course, you know, we love you to pieces. One of my favorite people.
I love you all out there. I appreciate everybody for sticking with us all these years, man. It's been a long haul. You know, I'm blessed to still be doing this. You know, I get up in the morning, I got the aches and pains, the arthritis, but I'm still jamming on that guitar every day. And the band, and I can attest to this because we did that pay-per-view, and people who saw the pay-per-view know the band, you can't stop this band, man. The band is a machine. I was like a fan on stage. I'm like, hey, look at these fools. I ain't seen 6 months.
Yes.
Killing it over here.
Yeah, y'all are killing it still. I absolutely can attest to that. Up close and personal. I've seen them, y'all. They are jamming. So make sure you go see them. If any of you missed some of this interview, it will be on my YouTube channel. So make sure you subscribe to Tanya Hawley, the KAMDI group. And I appreciate you all joining us. Please support Mike and ConFunkShun. And we appreciate you coming tonight. Everyone have a great weekend. You about to say something, Mike?
No, just want to say, I want to shout out to Renee Escobedo, who is one of the latest members to join ConFunkShun on the percussion.
Oh.
And Clarence Isidore, Master Clarence Isidore, the principal of Rodriguez High in Fairfield, who is now the conductor of funk. So, you know, you can ConFunkShun out on the West Coast and down around anywhere near the West Coast, you will see Clarence bringing us on, the conductor of funk. You saw him out there on the pay-per-view. He's bad. Right. I just want to get those cats in, you know, and of course, Steve Sullivan, our road manager.
All right. Okay. So everybody, thank you so much. Have a wonderful evening, and we'll see you later.